Section 4.1, graph quadratic functions in standard form. Quadratic function in standard form looks like this. Either y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a can't be 0. If it is 0, then that would just be a straight line. The b could be 0 perhaps, and c could also be 0. And you plug these values of x in, you get a y out, and you'll get what's called a parabola. And the parent function has a vertex right at the origin and builds up going positive x and negative x. So again, putting some values in, for example 1, y equals 2x squared, put these values in, you'll get, I like to always do the 0 first, it's easiest, you can kind of see where things start. And then go positive next, so that's going to be 2 and 8, oops, 8. And the negative becomes positive when it's squared, and 2 and 8. And a parabola will always have a mirror itself around an axis of symmetry, the center. So we'll be talking about how to draw that, find the vertex, and graph. So this first one, we'll start plotting these numbers, and here's 0, 0. I'll start there again from the middle. X is 1, y is 2, x is 2, y is 8. So 4, 6, 8. Now what I like to do is speed things up. I like to just mirror across the axis of symmetry. So over here's the -1 and the -2 here. Okay, let's look at some others on the next page. Go towards the skills practice. There are some problems here, and you'll be doing some of these. Again, just practicing putting the values into the table and getting the y values. What you'll notice here is the middle value on all these is 0, and your axis of symmetry is on 0. Shortly, later in this video, you'll see where the axis of symmetry moves around the x-axis. So again, let's do one of these for you. Just plugging these values into 4x squared. I'll try number 4 here. 0 squared is 0 times -3 is 0. 1 squared is 1 times -3 is -3. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3, -3 is -12. And the same thing repeats the other direction. -1 is positive times -3 is -3, and -2 squared is 4 times -3 is -12. So these are quick and easy to do. All right, again, some more graphing. Again, look at these don't have a bx. On the next page, number 7, 8, 9, so forth. These don't have a bx or a constant. These just have the ax squared. So let's look at, for instance, here's a negative number 10. Pardon me. You have to build your own table here. You can fit in here a horizontal table. Just draw a quick table for yourself. And for all these on this page, 0 is the axis of symmetry, so 0 can be your middle number. And most times you can go 1, 2, 3. I'll show you shortly a different pattern. So I'll just do 1, 2, and then other direction, -1, -2. So putting the 0 in here, 0 squared, it's just 0 again. Now 1 squared is 1, but then it's a negative. Remember, you square first, do the negative second, so it's -1. 2 squared is 4, then it becomes negative. Again, going same in the opposite direction, the negative values, they become positive, but the negative sign makes them negative, so -1 squared is 1, it's -1. -2 squared is 4, -4. And graphing is pretty easy. 0, 0, 1, 1, -1, and 2, -4. And again, I just mirror across the other side. This is 2 away from the axis of symmetry, 2 that way. I can roughly draw it like that. Okay. Now, let's talk about a shortcut that you'll need when graphing larger quadratic equations with the x and the constant. So you go back a couple pages, sorry about all the bouncing around. Second page has properties, second half of the page, has properties of the graph y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. What you need to know from this is the third bullet. There's this little equation here. It's the first thing you do. This little equation, which is x equals negative b, again that's the constant coefficient for the x term, divided by 2a, again a is going to be in front of the x squared term. That x value, again it's a vertical line, tells you where the axis of symmetry is. And if you have the axis of symmetry, you can also find the vertex of the parabola. Some other things you'll find out from these forms of the quadratic equation. The graph opens up if the a, again it's the first number, if it's positive, more than 0, it goes up. Opens down if it's less than 0 or negative. So this one over here is negative, this one's positive. Second bullet, the graph is narrower than the graph of y equals x squared if a is bigger than 1. This a, if you remember our yaks we talked about earlier this year, and yaks keeps coming back. This is sort of the slope, but parabola doesn't quite apply. But the bigger that number, the narrower the slope, the parabola will be. If you have a fraction, it'll become a wider parabola. And fourth thing here, the y-intercept is the c. So whatever you have for the c, it will always be the y-intercept. So example 3, we'll use the x equals negative b divided by 2a. For example 3, here's our quadratic equation, and it's positive 2, so we know that the parabola will go up. The 2 means it'll be narrow, steeper on the sides, and the 6 is where the graph will cross the y-axis, the y-intercept. So let's start off with using our new equation, x equals negative b over 2a. Again, from the original equation, this is the a, this is the b, this is the c. And we'll jam those into here. So negative b, well b is negative 8. Don't forget to bring your signs. So you have negative 8, and the 2, and then a is the 2 here. It's 2 times 2. The negatives cancel each other, so it's positive 8 over 4, or 2. So x equals 2. That x equals 2, again, x on a graph, vertical line, that's where the axis of symmetry is. So here's x equals 2. I just like to draw just a dashed line there. And mine's on a diagonal so you can see it better. So somewhere along that axis of symmetry is the vertex of the parabola. I don't know where it is, but I do know that the value of the x is 2. I have to find the y value, the up and down value. Well, this equation gives me the y, doesn't it? I found x to be 2. I can put that here and here. I'll get the y value for that 2. They'll tell me where that vertex of this graph is. Remember, it's a positive, so it's going to be going up. Okay? All right, so we're going to put the 2 in this equation. So y equals 2. 2 squared is, I'll just put it over here for you, minus 8 times 2 plus 6. Well, this is 4. 2 squared is 4 times 2 is 8. So it's 8 minus 16 plus 6. That becomes negative 2. So y equals negative 2. Let me check the math. Well, y negative 2 is right here. So here now is my vertex. And it's, again, it's positive, so it's going to be going up from there. Next step you want to do, the next easy thing to do, is get this y-intercept. This is 6. So you come over here, here's my origin. Go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look, I just made it. 6. Again, parabolas mirror around, or reflect around the axis of symmetry. So if I'm 2 away from the axis of symmetry this direction, I'm 2 away in this direction. So you got a pretty good idea what it looks like, but you're not done. You now have to find these 2 values. So I can put a 1, this is x equals 1, or x equals 3. Well, hopefully you choose 1. 1s are easier to work with than 3s. And again, you put 1 into here and here to get the y value that goes with it. So I'll put 1 into that. So over here, y equals 2, 1 squared, minus 8 times 1 plus 6. Now you can kind of guess where it is. It's going to be somewhere in here, and then on this side as well. So when I do the math here, I get y equals 2 minus 8 plus 6. Well, that's 0. Y is 0. So when I put a 1 in there for x, I get 0 for y. Right there. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm telling you to just mirror across. But I want to show you that it works. So I'm going to try x equals 3 and see if I get a 0 there as well. So I have y equals, and you do not have to do this. You can just put the dot there. But let me show you here that it works. Let me convince you. It's 3 squared minus 8 times 3 plus 6. We're trying to get 0 here. So 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. This is 18 minus 24 plus 6. Well, 6 plus 18 is 24. 24 minus 24, yeah, 0. So that point worked. And the best you can to just draw that. Okay? All right, let's try a few others. All right, number 21 on the next page. Making a graph the function, label the vertex, and axis symmetry. All right, so I'm looking at this. I'm looking at my positive A, so I know it's going to be going up. The A is 1, so it's not going to be, it's just going to be the normal shape, like the parent graph. And it's positive, so it's going up. My C is 1, so it's going to intersect the y-axis here at 1. All right, so now we begin by, again, using that equation of, x equals negative b over 2a. Again, I'll label them one more time for you. Here's the a, there's the b, there's the c. So I have negative b, there's a 2 there, so it's negative 2 over 2 times a, which is just times 1. So that's negative 2 over 2, I have negative 1. X is negative 1. So I go to my graph. Okay, x is negative 1, it'll be right here. Mark your axis of symmetry. That's where the parabola, well, it's vertex, and it's been equally on both sides. So mirror or reflect around that. Okay, so the next thing to do typically is to find where that vertex is. Well, this is value here is x is negative 1. By putting x is negative 1 back into the quadratic, I'll get my y value that goes with it. It tells me where it's up or down. So I'm going to put that over here. Y equals, so negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1. Okay, this is the x value. I'm putting it back into the equation, which is up here, to get the y value. So y now equals 1 minus 2 plus 1. I guess that's 0. Y is 0. So when x is negative 1, y is 0. So it's right there. There's my vertex. Okay, next step. This is a freebie every time. That's the y-axis intercept. So here's the y-axis. It intercepts it at 1. So I put that here and just mirror across. 2 points. From here, once you have your vertex and your intercept, now you just got to plug values in. But now you know where to go. So I'll start with, again, I like to use positive numbers, so I'll do 1 and 2 perhaps, maybe 3 if I have to, and I'll mirror across to the other side. So putting 1 in now, this equation, try to do a little quickly here, y equals 1 plus 2 plus 1. Again, I just put the values in here, squared it, and 1 times 2. So y is 4. So I had 1 for x, okay, y is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mirror across. This is 2 away from the axis of symmetry, so I go 2 the other direction. 2 points. Honestly, you should probably do one more because you got some room here. I'm going to try 2. If it fits the graph, I'd like to see the dot on here. So I'll put x equals 2, which can be a point somewhere up here. I'm kind of running out of room, but putting it into here and just solving right away. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 9. Okay, so y equals 9. Does that actually fit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hot dog, there you go. And that's 3 again away from the axis of symmetry, so you go 3 away to the other direction. You now have, oops, I went too far, sorry. Couldn't count. So 3 from this side, so you go 3 to that side, just ignore that one. Draw your parabola the best that you can. There you go.